important reminder. All information and ideas are for informational purposes only and are in no way intended as medical advice or as a substitute for medical counseling. Earthshift Products, Dr. Robert Cassar, all of their partners, affiliates, and subsidiaries will not be held accountable for the use or misuse of the information presented therein. This information is not intended as medical advice. The authors, publishers, and speakers of this work are not medical doctors and do not recommend the use of mineral-deficient foods, drugs, or medicines to achieve beauty and to alleviate health challenges. Because there is always some risk involved, all persons involved with the development and distribution of this information are not responsible for any adverse effects or consequences of any kind resulting from the use or misuse of any suggestions or procedures described on our website or Earthshift Live radio talk show or therein.
You break your arm, what does it do? It mends itself, usually even stronger than it was before. This is part of you. It's a live animal inside. Remember, everything inside this machine is alive. There's nothing in it that's dead. And life, to me, this piece of plastic's alive because it has a vibration. And if you have this piece of plastic that has a really weird, discordant vibration, and if you get it in your system, what do you think it does? It causes, here's a whole orchestra of people playing, and you guys are like this beautiful orchestra going off. This guy right here, though, he's out of tune because he can't really hear as well as the rest of the people, let's say. And until he either gets in tune, you have to tune him up or get rid of him. But he causes the one bad apple in the barrel, he causes the whole barrel to sound really crummy because everybody's going, hey man, you're out of tune, man. And this plastic, which is in almost everything, remember the bisphenol A like we talked about? It's outlawed in Canada, it's outlawed in Germany, it's outlawed in a lot of the different places around the world because it's totally toxic. It leaches. So people say, well, what kind of plastic's this? This is an HDPT, or HDPE number 2. It's a food-grade plastic that doesn't leach. So if you throw this out, that wouldn't be doing it. We pay extra money. We put this stuff in glass for a reason. We put this in special reusable plastic bags for a reason. You don't throw these out. You will always reuse them. Now, if you look at the other baggies like we talked about, if you open up a bag, like just go to any of the supermarkets and grab one of their little bags they want you to put in all your new organic produce, smell that. What does it smell like? If it smells, it's toxic. It's off-gassing. If it off-gasses, it goes directly into, because that stuff is acid, and since the food you're buying is alkaline, where do you think it goes? Opposites attract, don't they? It goes right into the food. And since your machine is an alkaline water machine, you can see, once you get in these acidic particles, and I'm not even talking about organic acidic particles, I'm talking about ones that aren't organic. Organic means that they're synthetic, or excuse me, if they're not organic. See, if it's organic, your body can actually process them. The difference between these bananas right here are full of organic arsenic. Good for you. These are non-hybridized, non-GMO, sun-dried bananas, have a shelf life of 10 years. We'll just say 5 years because 10's a little stretching it. We've had them for about 7 years, so they have them in bags. Now you can see if you look at them, they're black inside. These are so full of minerals, and they've been dried on the vine. Because if you don't get the olive oil we were talking about before, if you don't pick the olives one by one when they're dark, then all you're doing is getting demineralized foods. Now, one of the next questions people say is, how do I soften up this stuff? First of all, what you're going to do is you're going to do a variety of things. Remember, there's 1,000 things that we all need to do. You can't do them all. All you can do is a couple this week, a couple next week, a couple next week, and after about 6 months, you're a freak. Why? Because all your friends are not doing what you're doing, and now all you're doing is something opposite of what they're doing. So we all start to flow on this road, and then once you sort of tell the truth to different people, then you have to come up with good information, because if not, then it's, oh, well, my doctor said this and my doctor said that. Well, tell your doctor to take his clothes off or her clothes off. And you know, as a joke, remember, the doctors do have a degree, but we want to see your pedigree. And your pedigree is what you make out of this machine. The machine is, it's a temple. So we know if we've accumulated things, this is why we've got some of these products like metacardium. Ever heard of these? Anybody ever heard of ethylene diamine tetracetic acid? Yeah. Who said that? See, she's good. Okay, how do you say that? Tell me again. All right, so you're good. And what does it do?
Takes out toxins.
What kind? Okay. First thing it takes out is lead. Right, I get 1,000 points. So your kidneys are filters. And let's say women, guys get this too. They get it in a variety of ways. But women get hit hard with lead. Lead and lipstick. Google that one. And find out that all these companies have been putting lead into your lipstick. Okay? So the lead goes in the body. It's an elemental. It's not, like we talked about, this has an organic or a plant arsenic in it. But if you put in real toxic arsenic that came from a waste product, oh, you're in trouble. Your body doesn't know what to do with it. Here, most of the plants, remember, will take what's in the ground and transform them to a viable source that our bodies can actually break up and utilize and function. So what we do is, let's go over this here real quick here, and then we're going to actually we're going to do questions and answers. I'm going to turn this on, and you ever seen one of these before? This is a little machine here that it's actually pretty dangerous, because if you touch these two prongs, this is live 110 volts right here. So don't stick this in your mouth. That wouldn't be so good. Well, actually, if you want to check and see if you're conductive or not, you'd try that. This is regular water. I just got this out of the tap. Who drinks tap water? Anybody drink tap water here? Almost everybody outside that room besides here does. Why? Because they don't want to buy real water. They say, hey, tap water is just as good. They clean it, they fix it. Oh, the tap water's cleaner than most bottled water. You hear all the disinformation. Now, I turn this on. You can see the little red light. This just has a red bulb, or clear bulb here. This has a red wire and a black wire, and this is a positive and negative electrode, just like the two wires coming out of the wall socket. And if I put this into the water, if this has conductivity, the electrodes will touch each other, which will cause a straight current to go through, and this light bulb will actually light up. And you notice I can put my finger in here and nothing happens. Okay? Now, this is simple science. Why is this doing this? No conductivity. You're going to get the brownie point prize at the end of the... So, let's do a little experiment here. And this is just to show you, you are a light being. You ever heard of that? And in order to be a light being, wouldn't you have to actually be able to conduct electricity? And since your body, we just said, is a DC current battery, like Morpheus said, you're just a battery. And what does he say? Those machines only use us for what? For the power. And what are the machines? I'm talking about the reptilian, anaerobic parasites that live in our bodies. They're machines. And they live off of our power. So if you want to take back your power, what do? You terrain modify yourself a little bit at a time, because the last thing you want to do is try to fight these things. Let's say you had this thing called cancer. Remember, we talked about cancer, in my mind, is a parasite. And if it's a parasite and it's your child, it's living off of inside you right now. You're feeding it. You're housing it. It likes your warm body. Because if this was a snake here, the snake needs an exterior form of source of heat so it could actually exist. Snake goes out in the sun, it gets a little hot. Snakes don't sweat, or reptiles don't sweat. Goes back in the shade, goes back out. It has to go ahead and constantly modulate its heat. Don't you think these things, these parasites, modulate ourselves? Of course they do. Once you lose your critical factor, 50% of yourself, then, hey guys, 50% of yourself, once you lose yourself, these things inside us modulate almost everything that they need to their liking. Ah, I just mentioned your name. In a good way. That's Glenn Calkins. Remember I said, does anybody know Glenn? Glenn's a great researcher. There he is back there. And I've learned lots from him. Much. We all share ideas. We learn together. We expand what we do know, expand what we don't. And that's part of the idea of actually sharing secrets with each other. This is the new age, is to share secrets. The old age was to keep them. That was the age of duality. The new age is the age of triality, which of course is the age of becoming one with another and not fighting another. A little sort of fluffy, but it's true. Duality is fighting between people, and triality means everyone gets along. That means you have to share all the secrets. Anybody heard of the Aquarian constellation again? What does it mean? Cosmic law says, all secrets to be revealed at this time. Okay? That's what it means. The age of Pisces was no secrets to be revealed at this time. And so was it a good 2010 years so far, coming up 11. So, same thing. We put this electrode, just so you guys have just walked in here, we're just going to show about conductivity. I put my finger in the tap water here. Nothing happens. Oh, now the light bulb's starting to turn on. It's got a small amount. It's actually heating up inside, so the electrons are moving faster. But if this was cold water you saw a second ago, the light wasn't even turning on. It does have a small amount. If this was distilled water, there would be no minerals in the water at all, and there would be nothing happening. Zero. Even though it's turning on. Oh, this is getting warm in here. That's the only reason being is because everything's moving faster, but 110 volts is strong. Put your finger in a light socket. Okay, see how long you can do it for. I got my finger in there and I'm still talking well. The water's getting warm. Now, what I'm going to do is use a little salt. What is salt? Well, this type of salt has about 85 minerals in it. And we know if we have minerals in our body that we can produce electricity. Without minerals, you cannot produce anything. The minerals are the basis of how we regenerate. And that's one of the basis of actually understanding the simple law.